If you've ever felt profoundly alone, even in a room full of people. If you've ever scrolled through a feed of curated happiness and felt that pang of being on the outside, I need you to hear this. I need you to feel this in your bones. There is a loneliness so profound, it has a physical weight. It is the silence after you close the front door. It is the ache in your chest when you scroll through pictures of other people's joy. It is the feeling of being on the outside of your own life looking in. We are told this feeling is a sign that we are broken. That we have failed at connection, but what if that is a lie? What if this crushing isolation is actually an invitation to meet the most powerful person you've ever known? Yourself. You are not forgotten. You are not broken. The problem acknowledging the pain, the ache of isolation is a language so many of us learn in silence. It's a quiet, creeping cold that can find you anywhere, especially when you least expect it. It finds the new mother, where the joy of a new life is paired with a surprising, profound loneliness. Some surveys have found that a staggering number of mothers report feeling lonely. We're told motherhood takes a village, but for so many, it feels like a solitary island where you're the sole lighthouse keeper, tending to everyone's light but your own. The world sees a mother, but it often fails to see the woman inside, a woman who might be grieving her former self, her freedom, or the friendships that have drifted away. This feeling also finds the woman navigating the wreckage of a relationship. A divorce, a breakup, being ghosted by a friend. These aren't just endings, they're fractures in our social foundation. The emotional fallout can be immense, often leading to social isolation and taking a toll on our mental health. Suddenly, shared friends are divided, holiday traditions are painful reminders, and the future you planned together is a book with half its pages torn out. This kind of rejection doesn't just leave you alone, it can make you feel deeply unwanted, carving out a hollow space where connection used to be. And it finds the woman standing at a crossroads later in life. Maybe you're out of the workforce, feeling the sting of both economic insecurity and social invisibility. Research shows that feelings of isolation are a common trend among women who aren't working and those in their 50s and early 60s. This isn't just about a job, it's a search for relevance in a world that feels like it moved on without you. And this experience isn't rare. Some studies suggest that around 1 in 3 adults aged 50 to 80 report feeling lonely. The agitation, why it cuts so deep, so why does this isolation feel so uniquely painful? It's because, as women, we're often handed a script from a very young age. We're taught to be the connectors, the nurturers, the social glue for our families and communities. The world whispers that our value is tied to our relationships, to being a good daughter, a loving partner, a devoted mother, a loyal friend. So when we find ourselves alone, it doesn't just feel like a circumstance, it feels like a personal failing. We're bombarded with images of connection, the laughing friend groups, the perfect family photos, the romantic getaways. Our digital world, which is supposed to bring us together, often becomes a gallery of our own perceived shortcomings. It fuels what some researchers call digital loneliness, where we're more connected on screen but feel more disconnected in our hearts. You can have 1,000 followers and still feel like no one truly knows you. In fact, some recent surveys have found that a large share of Americans feel that no one knows them well. This pressure creates a devastating paradox. We feel this immense burden to keep it all together, to put on a brave face. We don't want to be a burden, so we retreat. We smile when we want to cry. We say, "I'm fine," when we're splintering on the inside. This self-imposed silence is heavy armor. We wear it for protection, but it also isolates us further, building an invisible wall between us and the very connection we crave. The truth is, you're not alone in feeling this way. Levels of social isolation rose in many parts of the world after 2019 and have remained high, a silent epidemic running just beneath the surface of our busy lives. The pivot, the turning point. But what if I told you that this period of profound, painful isolation isn't the end of your story? What if it's the most important chapter? What if your deepest moments of being alone aren't your breaking point, but the birthplace of your greatest power? There's a critical distinction we need to make, a reframe that changes everything. It's the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a painful lack. It's a hunger for connection that goes unfed. It's a passive state of feeling left out. Solitude, though, is something else entirely. Solitude is chosen. It's active. It's the deliberate act of stepping away from the world's noise to finally hear your own voice. It's a sacred space for self-reflection, creativity, and growth. While loneliness feels like a punishment, solitude is an invitation. An invitation to come home to yourself, maybe for the first time. Your season of isolation may have started as loneliness, forced on you by circumstance. But you have the power to transform it into solitude. You have the power to turn this empty space into a sacred sanctuary. Solitude as the mirror of self-discovery. For years, you may have been a reflection of other people's needs. A mother, a partner, an employee, a friend. Your identity has been shaped by the roles you play. In the deafening quiet of solitude, when all those external mirrors are gone, you're left with one question: who are you when no one is watching? This is your chance to meet yourself, unedited. To rediscover the parts of you that were set aside, the passions you put on a shelf, the dreams you deferred. Solitude allows you to unplug from external pressures and just be your authentic self. It's where you build a deep self-awareness, exploring what you truly think and feel in a safe space. This isn't about navel-gazing, it's about learning what you actually enjoy, what you believe, and what you want for your next chapter, separate from anyone else's opinion. In this quiet, you can finally hear the callings of your own heart. Solitude as the forge of resilience. This process isn't always comfortable. True solitude forces you to sit with your own thoughts, your fears, your regrets. It asks you to face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. And this is precisely where your strength is forged. Every moment you withstand the discomfort, every time you soothe your own anxiety, every instance you talk yourself through a wave of sadness, you are building a new kind of resilience. This is your training ground. It's where you learn that you can depend on yourself. You become your own source of comfort, your own cheerleader. Psychological studies confirm that time alone helps us process our emotions, leading to better emotional regulation and greater independence. You are proving to yourself, minute by silent minute, that you are capable of holding your own weight. The woman who emerges from this fire isn't brittle, she is tempered, strong, and flexible, because she learned she could survive it. Solitude as a sacred space for healing. For the woman grieving a loss, the end of a marriage, the loss of a job, the fracturing of a family, solitude becomes a sanctuary. The world wants us to move on, to get over it, but real healing needs time and space, free from the judgment of others. Solitude offers you that sacred space. Here, you can be messy. You can cry, you can be angry, you can sit with the sorrow without having to explain it to anyone. You can begin to process what happened with a clearer head, away from the noise of outside opinions. It's in this tender, private space that you can begin to mend. You learn to forgive others, and just as importantly, yourself. This healing isn't for them. It's for you. It's the gentle, patient work of piecing your heart back together, not as it was, but as something new, something stronger. Solitude as the unshakable foundation. When you have learned to be with yourself, rely on yourself, and heal yourself, you can start to rebuild your life from a place of incredible power. You're no longer building on the unstable ground of external validation or the shifting sands of other people's approval. You are building on the bedrock of your own self-worth. The life that grows from this foundation is unshakable. You learn to create your own joy. You find your own peace, a calm that can't be disrupted by external chaos. You become the architect of your own life. And when you do choose to let people in again, you do so not from a place of neediness, but from a place of wholeness. You're not looking for someone to complete you, you're looking for someone who celebrates your completeness. The invitation. This journey from loneliness to empowered solitude is a profound act of courage. It doesn't happen overnight. It begins with one small, intentional step. So, I invite you to take one. Text one person you trust, not with a performance of, "I'm fine," but with the truth of how you're feeling. Find one small group, a book club, a hiking group, an online forum for a hobby you love, and just listen in. Give yourself permission to ask for help, to seek professional support from a therapist, which is an act of profound strength. And most importantly, your story of resilience matters. In the comments below, share one moment, no matter how small, where you found strength in your solitude. Maybe it was just enjoying a cup of coffee alone by a window, finishing a project you were proud of, or simply making it through a difficult night. Let's fill this space with our stories, creating a library of resilience for the next woman who lands here needing to borrow a little strength. And if this letter spoke to you, subscribe and join our community. Because you are not alone on this journey. To the woman who felt invisible, I hope that now, you're beginning to see yourself. Not as the world has defined you, but as you truly are powerful, resilient, and whole. Look back at the path you've walked. The silent nights, the lonely days, the moments you thought you wouldn't survive, you did. You are here. That period of isolation was not a void, it was a cocoon. And the woman who is emerging is stronger than she ever knew. Your solitude was never your weakness. It is your superpower. It's the quiet, sacred space where you remembered that you were the queen, the warrior, and the architect all along. Never forget the strength you forged in the fire. You are, and always have been, stronger than you know. Share the thoughts that come to your mind when the feeling of loneliness overwhelms your spirit and the steps taken to soothe these thoughts. Subscribe for more.